really missing you guys, and we know that we want to help you keep your practice up. These are challenging and uncertain times, and information is coming at us so fast, and we're having to make decisions really fast, and we really need to slow things down. Allison and I were talking the other day how, the world really is a mirror reflecting back the state of our own minds and emotions. And the world has been so divided and so chaotic. And I think it's important that we utilize this time to slow down, to pace ourselves, to be aware, to be present, and to implement our yogic philosophy more so than the poses. How are we taking all the teachings that we've been absorbing and applying it to this situation right now? I don't know if Ringo's gonna let me do this practice. I thought since, fear is ramped up, we had the tornado and then this coronavirus, and now we're all more isolated at home, more so than not. I've been sitting at my desk for the last couple of days working on taxes and, just sitting at my desk and poring over that paperwork and looking down and looking up at the computer screen. My neck's been out of whack, my posture's been poor, my body's been hurting, and my poor pet has been very anxious about why I've been sitting for hours on end at the computer, which is not normal for me. So I took him for a walk. It's raining outside, and I thought I would take a break from taxes and bring to you the Magic Four. Now, the Magic Four was introduced to me years ago. A friend of mine actually suggested that I go to a workshop at Yoga Source when it used to be in downtown Nashville. And they said it's something called the Magic Four, and it stems from Swarupa Yoga. And we are going to do the restorative version of that. There are a couple teachers in town that practice this style. I'll be happy to give you their names. But I usually give this recipe of poses for anyone that's down on their back, that's been tweaked in their back, that's been doing some heavy lifting, that may feel some sort of strain. Usually that happens around Christmas time when people are putting up the lights, when people are moving, or when the spring comes and people are beginning to garden. So this is really good for helping the back to untangle a lot of the hidden pockets of tension. So we'll just do a short sequence. You can use any chair. It doesn't have to be like a yoga chair that we have at the studio. This is actually the only clear space in my house right now since I'm in the middle of packing and moving. So I'm just going to use this chair. You can even swing your legs up on a couch. And I'm choosing not to use a sticky mat. I'm just going to use the floor. You can also pull up a rug or other blankets or a toss pillow for the head. And at first I'm going to have my hands resting on the belly. So join me if you'd like. Just notice your heart rate and your breath rate. Remembering that the breath is the heart of yoga. The breath that helps to ground us in this present moment, as well as into our bodies. The breath that can help to link the mind and the body and the soul together as one. We have a new saying at the studio, a new motto that's called drop in, get real, and yoga up. So the centering stage of the practice is the dropping in. Notice how the ground feels beneath your back. Check in to see if you need any additional support. Allow the crease of the knees to come to the edge of the chair. And if you're using a still chair, you can use a blanket to add some warmth and padding. Try to keep the shins fairly parallel. Feel your calves resting on the seat. And let your toes, arches, and ankles relax. Take a few deep diaphragmatic breaths. Feeling the movement in your core beneath your hands. The swelling on the in-breath, the deflation on the out-breath. And then eventually allow your hands to create an A-frame position alongside your body. Palms can be open or downturned. Close your eyes and feel free to use a towel with some aromatherapy or an eye bag to pressurize the vagus nerve. Major nerve that travels from the head down into the depth of the belly. If you choose just to close the lids of the eyes, keep your drishti turned in and up to the spiritual eye, that place at the midpoint between the eyebrows. Listen to the sounds surrounding you. Maybe some traffic in the far-off street. I hear trucks because there's construction next door. I hear the breath of Ringo. And the sound of my own breath. So this is the beginning of the Magic 4. You're welcome to stay in this pose as long as you need to. Anywhere from 5 to 15 minutes if you have the allotted time available. So this first pose is already helping to unravel some of the tension that we hold at the base of the spine, around the tailbone region, at the pelvic floor. And we're going to move to the second phase, which is just gliding the left foot back. You can stop at any point along the way, so your heel can still rest on the seat of the chair. If you have the flexibility available, if you have enough flexion available in your knee, and if your buttocks doesn't curl up away from the floor and your sacrum stays anchored, you can even take the arch of the foot to reside just at the edge. Now your knee is coming in towards your chest line. Ideally, you wouldn't want it falling in towards the navel or outward away from you. We have used yoga straps at the studio in the past to wrap around the body and across the top of the shin. You can tighten or loosen the belt if you want that bind to maintain the hold for you. Now, as we move into this second position, it's going to help to start unraveling the tension that we hold in the low back and across into the hips, top the quads and hamstrings. And since I tend to get locked up in the lower left side of my back, sometimes having the foot here all the way at the edge can be a little intense after a bit. Not intense as far as stopping me from breathing, not intense as far as creating pain, but intense as far as little quivers and awakenings and releasings that I'm getting in that area of my back. I don't know if you can see it, but I can feel the tremors now, so I'm going to back up. Backing up and backing off is something that can be as advanced as progressing deeper into a pose, because it's learning from your own sense of self-awareness what is best for you and your body in the now. Come back to infuse yourself with prana through the breath of life. Open up that channel of breath so you're breathing deep and wide. Now that we've been holding it for a bit, again, you can continue to hold this. You can just pause the video if you want to take it to a longer time frame. Otherwise, restack the whole calf back to the chair. And now gently begin to slide your right heel back. Now, since this side is my easier side, I'm going to go ahead and take it all the way to the arch of the foot. Please don't go with the power of suggestion. Let this be your own scientific experiment. See how your body responds. See how your breath responds. The breath is often also a reflection of our mental realm. The state of the breath can represent the state of your mind. So notice, is your breath as anxious as you're feeling internally? Can you make it silky smooth? Can you be deliberate with your intention of being here fully, right here, right now in this practice with my voice and guidance? You may or may not be able to see, I'm getting a little quivering on the right side, but this side has nothing to do with my low back or the muscles. This is actually me just starting to feel a cold draft since I'm close to the front door. So if you need to pause the video and grab a blanket to cover yourself, to create more warmth, or to turn up the heat, feel at liberty to do so. Now place that right calf back to the seat and just take pause. I think right now, since we're all becoming more isolated with this coronavirus, that we're being asked to pause. We're being told to pause, whether we like it or not. But hopefully through our teachings at Half Moon Yoga, you have learned that these pauses are precious. They're sacred. They're needed and can be very meaningful. Let's cross the left ankle now over the right knee or thigh. Now, some people do enjoy sliding the foot down more like a half lotus. I want to be more simplistic for myself today. I posted this funny statement that my dad's cousin had shared, and it said, last week we were focused on the time change, the full moon, and the fact that it was going to be Friday the 13th. And now we can look back at that and go, oh, fun times. So just try to embrace and enjoy being here now. Try to enjoy a more slowed down pace. For the last few seconds of holding this shape, I'm going to slide the right heel back just a bit, just a few inches. Not to go incredibly deep, but just to increase the sensation. To move it a little higher up my back. Uncross and reset. It's always nice to check in with the residual effects after a pose as well. Let's take the right ankle over the left thigh or knee. Again, some people like to slide it more towards a half Padmasana. I'm going to keep mine more simplistic. You don't have to worry about additional flexion in the ankles because we're approaching it in a more passive manner. The restorative version of this is meant to be more passive, more relaxed. And as you can see with this third one, and before we move on to the fourth, it allows us to continue this unraveling process. I like to say it's like a domino effect. We begin at the base of the spine, and then it travels up and down from that point. And I'm going to take it just a skosh deeper, sliding the left heel back. Just a smidge. Last fall, Gabriel and I took a trip to Philadelphia. And if you've ever been to Philadelphia, it's a city that you can walk everywhere to, just about. And so that's what we did. When we were playing tourist, we just walked and walked and walked. And then by the end of the day, my back would be hurting. We would go back to our loft that we were staying in, and he would turn on football and I would lay down and do this. And it was medicinal every time. Remember, your slow, deep breaths are also the key to these poses working their magic. Even if you relax to the degree where the breath falls away, try not to get lost in any rampant thoughts. Unless it is insightful and pertains to what you're doing right now. We'll go ahead and uncross the legs. And then we're going to slowly swish the knees over to the right side. As you can see, I have a gap here. Since I'm not going to be holding it terribly long, I'm not going to bother filling in that gap with a blanket or a pillow. But you obviously can. I am, however, going to slowly begin to tilt my head to the same direction as the knees. You can surf the wave of the breath as it rolls up from the left side of your belly to the side obliques and intercostals. You may even feel it slightly pick up the left shoulder before the exhalation descends it all back down. Slowly, casually turn the head to center, bring the legs back up to the chair. Quick pause. Deep breath. And then we'll slowly cascade them down and off to the left. And I'm going to casually and slowly turn my head that direction as well. See, there's not as much of a gap on this side. Now surf the wave of the breath up through the right side of your body. Remember last week in class we talked about how fear is something that can crystallize into tension, and that tension creates pain. So as you absorb yourself into your breath and into your practice, try to visualize with each and every exhalation, you're not only draining away stress and tension, but any and all fear and anxiety away. Plug into yourself through the power of the breath. And as you plug into yourself, get real. Real with your body's needs. Real as far as discovering your own inner truth. Real as to seeing the beauty and the treasures that reside within your own self. And the yoga up, living from a higher vibration and a higher state of consciousness. So to reset after the twist, I am going to spin back to center and just neutralize everything a moment. And we'll roll off and away to our left lunar side. Pause there with your right hand on the floor, your left temple on the floor. Giving gratitude to Mother Earth. Giving gratitude to this wonderful universe that we help to play our part and roll in. And push down through that hand and slowly start to rise up. Take a moment to steep in an attitude of gratitude. Gratitude for our own health. Gratitude to our friends and loved ones. Gratitude to this practice that's time-tested. And all the yogis and yoginis who have passed it down so that we can benefit from it today.